Kia ora whānau.
LeBron James.
Scream if you love New Zealand.
Another day in paradise. Chee-hoo!
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. No mai, haere mai, ki Aotearoa. The world's bottom right corner, the print function cropped out. New Zealand is a bit of a Johnny-come-lately country. We escaped the dinosaur dial. Mammals didn't make it here before boats, so we had a rise of the planet of the birds thing going on. By the time humans showed up to the party, all this history had already happened. Pākehā colonisation only hit in the mid-1800s. Our islands run on our own time. We take in what the Americans and the Brits put out. And we get around to doing our own version just later. Our Nixon was in the 80s. We didn't let our poppies bloom. We didn't whakarongo to our own stories. We watched feature films, their films, not ours. There was no production in New Zealand. But the world changed. We felt it in the water, in the earth. You could smell it in the air. It is known, for some now live who remember it. It began with the forging of the New Zealand Film Commission. Tax breaks were given to the Ash Vegans, immortal, wisest and fairest of all beings. To the coasters, great miners and craftsmen of the mountain halls. And grants were gifted to the yuppies of Wellington who, above all else, desire power. For within these projects was bound the cunning and skill to shape our culture. But they were all of them deceived, for another film was made, and into this film a director poured his style, his imagination, and his will to dominate all wallets. One film to rule them all. One by one, the theatres of Aotearoa fell to the power of the film. The script passed on, with one chance to seal this chapter forever. But the hearts of men are easily corrupted, and the glow of nostalgia has a will of its own. It betrayed us all in the end, and some things that should not have been forgotten were lost. Legend became myth, the film passed out of all pop culture discourse, until, when chance came, it ensnared a new bearer. And something happened then the Film Commission did not intend. The screenplay was rehashed in some of the most derivative ways imaginable. For the time will come when soon this movie will it have an impact actually? I don't know. What, did you really think I was gonna do 2 Lord of the videos in a row? Get real. Spoiler warning for Goodbye Pork Pie and Pork Pie. Because Pork Pie is a remake of Goodbye, each movie reveals the other's plot, which raises today's question. When you make a movie with the same plot as an old one, are you making the same movie? Or is there more to it than that? Goodbye is a Kiwi classic, one of only a handful to treasure. The ideal classic is timeless, a shared cultural heritage we can all appreciate. Yet Goodbye is not super watchable nowadays. It gives off the vibe of 2000s comedies whose frat bro creators think that their experiences are so interesting and unique that they just have to share with audiences what it's like to smoke weed and drift aimlessly. Director, Jack Kerouac. The film's glimpse of New Zealand is a moving picture with no insights and nothing to say. The characters are just as shallow. John's partner Sue leaves him for the deep south. Jerry flees the law. Cheryl hitches a ride. Dorky John is getting on. Jerry is bloody annoying, and I couldn't tell you a single thing about Cheryl. That's how thinly they're characterized. 24 cast and crew travelled from Cape to Cargo, filming a series of skits, linked only by the looming threat of the police closing in. Few scenes are creative. The train station stunt impressed me, while my personal favourite is the train interior party. Unfortunately, outside Tony Barry's memorable arc and Claire Oberman's pass grade, the performances are poor, with dated line reads landing like lead bars.
You, didn't have your seatbelt on?
Yes, I did. And Kelly Johnson's Jerry epitomizes the biggest problem. This movie really hates women.
beat you, my
Jesse.
Don't you talk to me like that!
Aotearoa deserves an iconic road trip movie, timeless and worthy of that bombastic ending. For 34 years, Goodbye Pork Pie begged for a remake. What did we get?
Where you got a death wish?
Oh, I've been internalizing a really complicated situation in my head.
Okay.
We can start with better actors. O'Gorman plays his role solidly. Ashley Cummings commits and leaves her mark. And, just like in Boy, James Rolliston shows range, both dramatically and comedically.
Yeah, he's a food writer. You're writing about sandwiches at the moment, eh? Good and ones, eh, bro?
He's the first of several iconic Kiwis to show up.
Fantastic. What a total plonker.
From Paul Henry putting his lifelong method acting at being the worst to work,
This guy is a legend, you were absolutely right. Legendary.
to the dictator of the Deep South. And while Jeff Murphy created the original, his son Matt directs here, capping off his intergenerational homage by honouring the iconic vehicle itself. Pair that up with consistent, competent cinematography, and we can declare the first remake in New Zealand film history a success. So you say everything's good with pork pie now. Where else am I gonna go? Actually, it's not gonna be alright now, because the script has room to grow.
Big bongo!
I'm not loving this film's dialogue. A lot of individual line reads are awkward and forced, particularly in the car early on, and at the parties.
I do fool and session. Okay. Lay off that weed, bro. This ain't Call of Duty.
They chose to age down John to create a more hit movie. Yet Pork Pie isn't with it. As for the big picture, why does Pork Pie hate the North Island?
Context.
Almost every Kiwi lives on two islands. The South Island, Te Waiponamu, has 1.2 million people. In the north, Te Ika
Maui, breathe it in.
Auckland alone has 1.5 mil, with 2.3 million across the rest. The road is 900 k's from Kaikohe to the Wellington Ferry, and 900 more from Picton to Invercargill. Goodbye reaches Wellington in 22 minutes and 30 seconds. Pork Pie? 20 minutes, 40 seconds. Pork Pie, more like pork why. Let me plant a flag nobody could object to. New Zealand landscapes are pretty. People like to look at them. At the half-hour mark, the road trip movie has already passed half of all possible locations. All we get is a bit of Auckland and a lot of Wellington. Pork Pie should not have felt honour bound to repeat Goodbye's mistake. Spend more than 2 minutes in the Upper North Island. Learn about each other's lives on the desert road at night. Papa Manu and Lake Taupo. Bulls! They're not even compensated for their loss with more South Island sites later. Listen to Scribe.
How many dudes you know roll like this? How many dudes you know flow like this? Not many, if any. Not many.
And go to.
It's all good. It's all good when you.
Weak structure kills character growth. Our core trio assembles when Kira joins the crew in a scene where she 1. Is vegan, and 2. Misses the signs that her companions are outlaws. We get one more scene en route to Wellington where Kira sets up a vegan party. She parties at the vegan party veganly. It only occurs to her that she is in cahoots with criminals when they flee Wellington. The only characteristic we learn about is Kira's ex-Beefshin rebellion. Nobody evolves, no one makes choices, John does nothing. The only development as a trio is Kira falling for Luke a bit too easily because he lies about having principles. We never learn why these three get along, so we can't spot the flaws in their budding friendship. That means their argument comes out of nowhere. The threat of police pursuit versus vegan publicity makes some sense at least, but a deal breaker with Luke is...
Back at the lake, I downloaded that game.
Luke, you idiot!
This is lazy screenwriting.
Back to film school.
The writers imitate how abruptly Shirl is yanked from the group in the first film. Kira's bold self-sacrifice is undercut because nobody has good reasons for their choices in this movie. She barely even buys them any time. Then the writers give Luke the same treatment. I get chucking in Tom Sainsbury as another recognisable face.
We all had a big laugh when Simon Bridges accidentally called me Paula Benefit. God, it was funny, wasn't it?
But this replica of the original's most awkward, uneasy scene now exists to set up putting a bullet in Luke. If you really want to write Luke out, isn't this the one time to honour the original? Just hit him with a car. So that John can reach Invercargill for a romantic reunion. That has zero chemistry because she has no investment because the scriptwriters cut her off from all news. She probably thinks he just bought a plane ticket and the mini's a rental. Pork Pie doesn't do the mahi early on to establish expectations, so the film can't land satisfying plot twists. How can you have the ground yanked out from under you if it was never firm? Sticking too closely to Goodbye only works against Pork Pie. Pork Pie didn't need to show us every exact detail the same way. It just needed to capture the essence of the original. So, what does a solid foundation for a Pork Pie film look like?
Okay.
Conflict creates story. Here's an easy one. A character wants to do a thing. Unfortunately, doing stuff costs money.
No, he paid for that. What? La petrol. No, I didn't. I thought you did, didn't you?
Resolve that. Goodbye has a clear theme. The trio are just scraping by and need food and fuel. Poor characters who can't afford stuff steal stuff. Their thefts intensify their conflict with police. Resentment for the cops bleeds through the films of this era, from the Season 5 Heisenberg vibes of Smash Palace to the open insurrection of Sleeping Dogs. Cash poor people also sell stuff. And when you're on the road in a Mini, all you've really got to take down to the pawn shop is your Mini. Deconstructing Theseus' ship on its odyssey isn't just an entertaining concept or an iconic visual. It's also a great way to represent the challenges and burdens of the journey. Like blood and bandages in an action movie, the slow death of the Mini shows our heroes are running out of juice. The longer they drive, the more we root for them. Pork Pie just doesn't do this. In fact, there are barely any allusions to money trouble. John borrows his brother's suit and they steal petrol once at the start.
That's it!
That's it.
This entire side of Goodbye vanishes from its remake, and so the police pursuit loses its sting. The cops become props inserted because we need to have a chase, rather than enforcers against our trio of a narrow, establishment-approved lifestyle. Pork Pie fails in its effort to romanticize the rebellion.
They've been dubbed the Blondini Gang by fans on social media.
Having an abundance of platonic relationships, reminiscent of my man Mike Plato.
I love the train car scene in the original because Goodbye best expresses its fantasy there. That even when you're broke, you can pack up, hit the road, and have your own little palace for a day. Pork Pie's use of royals could fit so well.
And we'll never be royal.
It's a song where torn up townies live that fantasy. But Pork Pie didn't do the same setup work. And the scene itself is perfunctory, they don't even dance. Pork Pie refuses to commit to what made Goodbye special. Instead, the characters just feel like the real Lord who hails from a leafy suburb and makes up a lot of stuff for her songs. But she's really good at fiction. Pork Pie's script winds up the worst of both worlds. The key points on paper of the Goodbye script are all copy-pasted to recreate the first movie, but the writers fail to identify what made Goodbye unique.
That is the regular patty, no cheese, no tomato or anything interesting at all.
Perfect. Pork Pie is better than Goodbye, but the remake is not iconic.
Kia ora, my name is Boy.
July 2016. Pork Pie just wrapped. James Rolliston is out with a mate in his hometown of Oporto.
Welcome over.
He's driving recklessly. He slams into a bridge. They both survive. He's lucky not to have crashed into anyone. The price Rolliston pays far surpasses community service. Even if the judge didn't take his license, he can't just get back on the road.
I'm still doing rehab and slowly getting my speech back, working on my speech, physical rehab, so just getting my strength back and trying to get the bones and muscles all working again. And yeah.
And how's it going?
Yeah, it's going awesome. I'm very lucky. I'm making rapid improvements.
I won't judge James for driving dangerously. By all accounts, he's a good man. He made his mistake, he learned his lesson. So good. I'm really glad he can keep doing what he loves. He showed his range last year as a man recovering the use of his body after an accident. He bounces off Julian Dennison, who made his name as a child actor in a critically and commercially successful New Zealand film. Julian plays a shy misfit trying to escape to a fancy acting school. Moral of the story number 1, compare truth to fiction and you will always come away thinking, how bizarre. Moral number 2, all cast and crew have flawed projects in their back catalogue. Big deal. Moral the 3rd, some NZ movies showing flaws does not mean that NZ movies are bad.
Faulkner is Caucasian. Well, they got their own because you're obviously white.
Compelling stories come from everywhere anyone can cook. Criticizing works of fiction doesn't have to mean hating on them.
But truthfully, I don't have a hating bone in my body.
My passion for stories can never be overcome by some reservations I might hold.
Bro, did you really just talk during silent reading time?
I wish some tales were told better, not that the attempt was never made at all. So, if you enjoy either pork pie, I'm glad. If you haven't checked them out, maybe you should.
We're taking their car. No, I'm not.
They're 100-minute comedies. You could back-to-back them faster than Return of the King. Pork Pie is not a bad film, it's just a movie that merited a chat. So, kick back and relax, enjoy yourself, and drive safe.
That's why he's the GOAT!
Pork. Pork. Goodbye, pork pie.
Hey, that's the name of the